Hi, in the next 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, you're gonna learn the exact reasons why sometimes you feel unmotivated to do your work, and two of the exact ways that I personally use to try and snap myself out of this unmotivated state when I catch myself wasting time scrolling on social media instead. And if this sounds like a little trick that you would like to have inside your back pocket, then keep watching. So I'm gonna start with a story. I remember every single time when I'm coming back from school and there's always some stuff on my plate, like having to, I don't know, do homework or some shit. This is secondary school, by the way, so when I come back it's gonna be around 4, maybe 5. Sometimes with CCA I'll come back at like 6, 7. And when I am back, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have either lunch or dinner. So I'd be there eating, not yet showered, so I'll be on the dining table eating, and also simultaneously using my phone. Because you know how when you come back from school and you're tired as hell, you don't really want to do this, you don't really want to do that, all you want to do is just sit down and relax. But you know deep down that you have some shit to do before tomorrow, before your math teacher comes and murder your ass. So what you're gonna have to do is that you try your very very best after you're done eating to get your ass off, but that doesn't really work out now, does it? So if I run you down the timeline and remind you of how this probably feels like for you as well, is that 4 p.m. get home, 4:15 p.m. having lunch or dinner, 4:30 still eating, 5 o'clock done eating already, but you're still seated down there, 5:15 you are still there, 5:30 you realize that you need to get off your ass, but you're still sitting down there, 5:45 coming to 6 o'clock already, so it's almost been 2 hours. You finally decide, oh shit, you know what, let's go get some shit done. And then you get off, and after you get off your ass, 6 o'clock, after you're done bathing as well, by that time you've already wasted 2 hours on something that could have been done in half an hour. You know, I'm not saying this as like a guilt tripping thing, because I personally fall for this addiction too. Yeah, so I'm not really judging anyone of this. It's just that I'm facing the exact same problem as you, where you know you get into this super unmotivated state that you can't even get off your ass to wash your dishes. And I'm sure I'm not alone, so I'm gonna teach you the exact ways that I have used to counter this thing. Let me refer to my script real quick. And the issue lies down, script, right? The issue lies down when you begin to have this one thought. This is like the thought, the seed of all issues. One more reel, one more shot. The moment you get that thought, you know you are screwed, because you're going to be there for the next half an hour, next 45 minutes, next hour, maybe even more than that. The thing is, companies have deliberately spent billions of dollars investing into the marketing to see how they can trap your attention for even longer, because you know they earn more ad revenue if you're longer on the app. Now this video isn't going to be about, oh, you should quit social media and shit, but instead I'm going to give you the 2 practical tips that I personally used to counter this. But first you gotta understand, why is it that you're facing such a weird problem? Why is it that you are not able to control your own mind, to grab hold of the control panel and make moves? The issue is not wanting to do the work. You want to do the work, but you literally cannot get started. There's like a huge field of thick snow or thick mud that you have to trudge through. You know how to get out of a foam pit? You know what I'm talking about. You guys went to trampoline parks as a kid, right? And there's a foam pit that's insanely difficult to get out, that drains all your energy after you do like half a front flip into that, and then you're gonna realize that, oh shit, getting out is kind of difficult, and you just want to lie down there after you're tired. That's exactly what this rut feels like. It's exactly what this rut feels like. I thought of this analogy on the spot. I didn't refer to script for this one. Why can't you just leave this foam pit? Why can't you just exit this endless doom scroll cycle that you just get off your ass to do the work? Why can you not just get off your ass? You know, at what everyone says, discipline, hard work instead of motivation. Yeah, but how is that working out for you, bro? The only reason why that happens is because you don't understand the principle of motivation. This is something I learned within the last year or so, and I put some time and effort into practicing and understanding these principles before I actually come down here and speak. Now, hello, 早安. My laptop just died. Bro. How's the lighting actually? Oh, that is ass, man. Oh, and I was actually doing pretty well for this video as well. I was pretty enthusiastic as well. Oh, shit. Well, I guess this is a good B-roll, yeah? Okay, I just looked at that thing, now I'm blind. Holy shit. But you know what? This is the lighting you're gonna have to cope with for today. Unexpected circumstances. Where was I? Understanding the dopamine cycle, right? Dopamine. or the motivation molecule. Now, I'm going to explain exactly how that works. Before I explain to you what this chemical in your body is and two ways that you can leverage this, you can make use of this to your own advantage, I want to congratulate you for something. The fact that you are watching a video like this instead of being on Instagram right now, this very moment, shows that you are actually interested in wanting to improve your health and your performance. And I congratulate you on that. Not everybody has been enlightened to this stage where they want to improve their health instead of looking for mindless entertainment. So that means we're probably going to see each other a lot on YouTube from now on. So let me just introduce myself first. My name is Kneecaps, and I'm on a mission. I produce these videos as I want to help Singaporeans become more aware about problems they face regarding their health and their performance, and also ways that we can use to improve them together naturally. That means no use of like vitamin D bloody supplements to improve your focus, or I don't know, steroids or some shit. Just a disclaimer though, I am no professional in health and performance, but I guess that just makes me more relatable, right? This channel is going to be all about me documenting down the things I learned through trial and error and research online about health and performance, and everything will just be in here. So it's going to be like the gallery of Niguang's Kneecaps entire research documented down in video format for you to watch, and I think that's going to be a pretty interesting path. And also, if you want to support this cause, helping Singaporeans become more aware about their health and their performance issues and how we can find ways to improve it and reach its peak potential naturally, then yeah, you can just do the YouTube algorithm stuff that will just, make YouTube like me more. And when YouTube likes me more, they would just spread my videos to more Singaporeans, and we can expand the tribe, expand the cause. You can also just subscribe if you vibe, just vibe with my personality. I'm cool and shit. Now let's begin. Okay, so the way that this chemical works is, firstly, it's called dopamine, or the motivation molecule. Go Google it right now, you understand what I mean. The way that most people think about it, because they watch some YouTube video, they're gonna be thinking, oh, the more dopamine you have, the bad is bad, because playing games is a high dopamine activity, so it's bad. That's one way to put it, but let me just give you a little bit more of an in-depth explanation and how you can leverage it. So I gotta keep referring to this because there's actually some brain shit that I can't pull out of the top of my head just yet. Yeah, I don't have a PhD in endocrinology or neurobiology, but what I can do is I can give you the bro science explanation that is definitely sufficient for us layman individuals. So I want you to imagine a line, but not any straight line, but like more like a wiggly line, a sine wave. So imagine a sine wave, and that's like the top of the sine wave and the bottom of the sine wave. You see this sine wave, on top is the peak, and the bottom we call it the trough. When you're rising towards a peak, so you see like starting from center point, and it's rising towards a peak, and it's going back down. Okay, let me just explain this first, that your dopamine levels is always fluctuating. It is never still, it is never at a fixed value, it's always fluctuating. And when it goes up, when it reaches a peak, when your dopamine reaches a peak, that probably means you're thinking about something like playing games, or thinking of anything, in fact, eating, or looking forward to a date, looking forward to meeting your friends, anything. Anticipation breeds desire. So when you think about something, your desire for it will likely grow. And when it grows, your dopamine levels will rise. Everything you can think of would rise your dopamine levels in a slightly different manner, in a slightly different amount. And after a set period of time, that peak would drop into a trough. Trough. And when it drops into a trough, the dropping phase is called your craving. So the rising phase is the desire, and the dropping phase is the craving. There was this experiment that was being done where, blind again because I did this. So there was this experiment that was being done where there was, is that better? Okay, no, it's fine. So there was an experiment that was being done on this rat, and they injected this chemical into the rat that blocks dopamine reception. The rat is immune to dopamine. It cannot handle the effects of dopamine. It will not be able to process the effects of dopamine. So it's just like a random chemical. Dopamine to them is nothing now. So what happens to a rat that has effectively zero dopamine? It died in a few days. Why? It was thirsty, but it did not have the motivation to drink water. It was hungry, but did not have the motivation to eat. All it did was just laid there. So yeah, dopamine does sound kind of important now, does it? So it's not necessarily the higher the worse. But now it makes it sound like it's not necessarily the lower it's worse, right? So let me explain to you how dopamine actually works. I want you to imagine a sine wave, where there's rising and there's falling, right? When it's rising, we call that rising towards a peak. We call that a desire. When you think about anything, hold on. The fact your dopamine is always fluctuating, okay? And when you think about something, anything in fact, drinking water, going out with your friends, going on a date, playing video games, recording a video, your dopamine levels is gonna rise. So that's gonna cause a desire. I want to do that. But different activities cause different amount of desires, different levels of desire when it rises. And after a certain point, it will just drop. That drop is what we call a craving. This is my own bro science analogy, okay? It's not like the official sciencey shit. So when it drops, the craving comes in. When the craving comes in, depending on how high that drop was, like the peak to the trough, depending on how large that range is going to be how motivated you are to accomplish that goal. Certain things like playing video games is going to have a super high peak, and when the trough comes down, the desire to play the games is going to be super high. Because you know why? Dopamine feels good, and when there's a sudden drop in that dopamine, you're going to be thinking, oh shit, I need that level of dopamine back. You're not going to be consciously thinking this shit, but this is what's going to happen inside your chemicals and your blood and your cells and shit. So when that massive drop occurs, you're like, oh shit, I'm in a deficit, I need more of this. That sounds familiar, right? That sounds like addiction now, does it? Yeah, that's practically what it is. So for social media, when you're sitting down, back to the story, right? When you're sitting down using your phone instead of when you're eating, then you're gonna be scrolling and shit, okay? Then what's gonna happen to your dopamine is that it's gonna rise up a lot, and then it's gonna drop a lot. And the process of you scrolling is you trying to find the dopamine back. But you are now like constantly at a low fluctuation level. Imagine you're supposed to be here at baseline, but you shot up, and then you went all the way back down, and now you're at a constant deficit of lack of motivation. You know what happens when there's zero dopamine, the rat is not motivated to do anything? Yeah, you are now that rat. Because you are lacking dopamine, you don't have enough of it right now. So how can you get more dopamine into your system without desiring to waste your time on stuff like social media or playing video games? That's what I'm gonna explain to you. Here's the secret. Your dopamine will always return back to its original baseline if untouched. If you have no other desires and shit, your dopamine will return back to its baseline. But why do you want it to return to baseline, you may ask? Well, think about this. When your dopamine levels rise and fall, certain tasks cause it to rise a lot, like scrolling, the bad habits. And then there is the stuff that you want to do, like doing your homework. That causes a very minimal rise in your dopamine. And that's negligible as compared to the effects of what social media can do. So imagine this analogy. There's a balance scale right now, okay? A balance scale. And on the left side, we have desire for games. And on the right side, we have desire to... And now because of that, we are going to put a 10 kilo weight on the side to do... We're going to put 10 kilo weight on the side to do your games, play games, right? And on the right side, which is the desire to do your homework, we're going to put a apple. Now that I phrase it that way, it's going to sound like, okay, so obviously I'm going to want to play the games because of the 10 kilo weight. But now you have to remove the 10 kilo weight and return back to baseline to reset the scale. You're going to take off both objects. And you're going to reset the scale. So now the scale is even. And then when you put the apple there, it will sink down towards the apple side. So that's exactly why you need to do so. And I'm going to teach you exactly how you can return the baseline. I've already given you the first solution out of the two solutions. Is to just wait it out. Because, your dopamine is going to replenish itself over time. And it's going to return back to baseline. How long does that take? Half an hour? Maybe 1 hour? about there. I've not really sat down for that long to try and test it, but I've heard some numbers out there, and I've sat down for about 20 minutes before I got bored. Number 2. Okay, let me just explain the major flaw in number 1 first. The major flaw in number 1 is that you are going to get bored as hell. You gotta sit down there and you practically gotta become a Buddhist monk in order to like just clear your mind and do nothing. Pretty difficult. Watching TV, no. Reading a book can. It's not that high. It's gonna be like putting a half a kilo weight on top on the balance scale with an apple rather than nothing. So better to remove all the weights, right? So yeah, get rid of all the weights. Think of nothing. Pretty difficult, right? It's gonna be boring as hell for like half an hour. Now, second solution, I like this one more. It's more effective. You can get it done in 5-10 minutes. Cold showers. When you put yourself in a situation that's very psychologically difficult, like a cold shower, you don't want to do it, but you know why? Because the fact that you don't want to do it, your dopamine will go down, and the fact that you really don't want to do it, your dopamine will spike down even more. And you could be thinking, wait, kneecaps, but you just told me that if it's down, you don't want to do any work. When your dopamine levels is down, you could become like the rat, am I right? Yeah, partly, but this is temporary. Social media scrolling, you're gonna be there for hours searching for dopamine, but this thing will give you like a spike of like negative dopamine for like 5 minutes. Sorry, not even 5 minutes, maybe during the time of you being in the shower. So imagine you're already at negative dopamine. You go into the shower, you turn the water to cold, and then you turn it on. Don't turn it on to heat and then walk inside and turn it to cold. No, that's being a pussy. Turn it to cold, turn it up, walk inside. You're gonna hesitate a little bit, but you're gonna go and then you walk inside. Once you're inside, you're gonna be gasping for air. You're gonna be like that kind of feeling. That's good. Stay in there for 30 seconds in the front, 30 seconds in the face, back, shoulder, 30 seconds. Guarantee you by the time you come out. Oh, by the way, when you're in there, think about like don't really think about anything. Just think about your work. Think about what you're gonna do next. What kind of homework you wanna do or edit. What kind of video you want to edit, what kind of video you want to script, what kind of shit you want to learn. Think about what the task is going to be after that during the time you're in your cold shower. And then once you're done, you get your ass out, wipe dry, start work immediately. Get a cup of water and start work immediately. You would actually be in such a better state because of that negative dopamine. Because remember how it always fluctuates? Yeah, when it drops down, when you deliberately drop your dopamine down with the cold exposure, it's gonna shoot back up. It's gonna be like pulling on an elastic band. It's gonna shoot back up. And that is an amazing feeling to have. You get this like half an hour boost. And if you are undistracted, like you don't have 3 brothers and a family full of noise and shit at home, your shit can go up to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of pure deep unfocused work. Pure deep focus work. Amazing. The third technique is a bonus technique, okay? Derived from my own. Because I watched a podcast from Andrew Huberman and I pulled pieces and bits and pieces about the information about dopamine and put it together in this video. And those 2 solutions were the one presented by him. So let him have the credit, not me. But this one, let me have the credit. It's the third bonus technique. Third bonus technique is you do both. Because sometimes you don't really want to get out of the shower anyways, right? So put your phone away. You're on your dining table. Put the phone away. You're gonna have a desire to grab it back. Don't do it. Conscious about this. Be very conscious about this. Sit down. Think about your goal and think about why you're not doing it. And then just sit down for another 5 more minutes until like you start to feel guilty for not doing anything. Don't watch any TV on the screen when your brothers are watching it too. Don't do that. Just sit down for a little while. Maybe 30 seconds or so. And then you go for the cold shower. You'll be much more motivated, and then your testosterone will start taking over and shit. You're gonna be like, I ain't no bitch, and then you turn on the water. Amazing. Well, that's about it from me. If you learned something, good for you. Do the YouTube algorithm shit as well. And if you like you know what, just comment an outro phrase. I haven't thought of one yet. Cheers. Yeah, so tomorrow, try to do this tomorrow when you got some homework to do or some shit. I mean, like the exams around the corners, right? A levels, right? Yeah, so when try and do some shit regarding this. Try this principle once you realize that you are doom scrolling again, and comment how well it works. Also, I haven't thought of an outro phrase yet, so yeah, comment on a good outro phrase as well. Until then, cheers.